Today the video for April 28th is just going to build on what we did yesterday. So if you haven't watched April 27th, you need to go back and watch that first. Otherwise, make sure you take out a new sheet of paper, title it with the date 4/28 or April 28th. Do these problems with me. We're going to do 4 for our notes, and I believe you have 4 for homework. All right, you guys, we're going to solve for the variable. Notice use the variable x in all these problems, but again, it could be any other letter. We're going to solve for the variable, and then we have to know whether we want our answer to be rounded or radical form. So for the first two, we're going to round to the hundredths place. And if you don't know what the hundredths place are, I'll show you in these examples. All right, you guys, whenever we solve equations, remember there's a left side and a right side, and we got to be fair. So I can do my line of equality. But now we're going to have two-step problems today. You guys, we do have to get rid of squared and we have to get rid of the 7. But you're going to learn that the squared is a pretty important piece, and that has to actually get broken off last. So you guys, I'm going to get rid of the minus 7. The opposite of that is plus 7. And now I would have x squared is equal to, when those cross off, 51. As we learned yesterday, what gets rid of squared is square root, but you can't forget your plus or minus sign. So I'm going to square root the left side, I'm going to square root the right side, but put that plus or minus sign. And since it wants me to round, I really just have to look at my calculator now. I have x is equal to plus or minus. When you do the square root of 51 in your calculator, you get 7.1414, and it does keep going. But if you want to go to the hundredths place, which is 2 spaces after the decimal, so I'll look at this 4 is where I'm rounding to, but in order to round, I look behind it. And since 1 is considered to be a small number, the 4 stays a 4. So my answer, rounded to the hundredths place, is 7.14. Again, positive and negative. Let's try number 2. Line of equality again. Left side, right side, and we got to be fair. We're going to get rid of squared last. So we have to get rid of this 5 first. And remember, 5 is touching a letter, it means multiplication. The opposite of that is division. So I will divide by 5. They will go away. Divide by 5. Now I will have x squared is equal to 105. To get rid of squared, I square root. So I square root the left side, square root the right side. Don't forget plus or minus. On the left side, they cancel, so I only have x. And on the right side, I use my calculator, plus or minus. I don't type that in, but I type in the square root of 105, and I get 10.2469 with some more stuff. I don't need all that, though. To go to the hundredths place, which is 2 places after the decimal, I'm going to round to the hundredths place. I look behind that number. Behind the 4 is a 6. Since that is a large number, anything 5 or bigger is considered to be large digit, you're going to increase the 4 to a 5. So I have x equals plus or minus 10.24 bumps up to 5 as my final answer. So we're solving two-step equations today, and again, on those, I wanted the answer to be rounded to the hundredths place. The next 2 examples, we're not going to round anymore. We're still going to solve, but we're going to keep them in radical form. Now, at any time, though, if something comes out to be perfect, you don't need a decimal or a radical. That's considered to be a perfect square root or a perfect square equation. That's fine. So you guys, but I do want my answer in radical form now, if I need it. So number 3, I have 3x squared equals 36. Line of equality. Divide by 3, and I get x squared is equal to 12. But now, what is the opposite of squared is square root. So I square root the left side, square root the right side. Don't forget plus or minus. But when I take out my calculator now, and the square root of 12, which I try, it's a decimal. I didn't want a decimal answer there. So I keep it the square root of 12 for now. and I break it down and I look for prime numbers. A pair comes out as a single. So it's 2 times 6, 2 times 3. 2 is prime, and 3 is prime. I have a pair of 2's that get to break outside the radical. So my final answer is plus or minus 2 rad 3. So you guys, we can give answers in a rounded decimal form or radical form, and depending on what's asked of you, depends on what you should do. Here's your last example of the day, number 4. We have x squared plus 9 equals 13. Same thing, left side, right side. So, a line of equality. I get rid of squared last, so I need to get rid of this part first. Well, think about what's the opposite of plus 9? Minus 9. So I minus 9 on both sides. On the left side, they cancel. And I have x squared is equal to 4. What is the opposite of squared? To get x by itself is square roots. The left side and the right side, don't forget, plus or minus. On the left side, they cancel, leaving just x. And on the right side, when I do the square root of 4 in my calculator, I really shouldn't have hopefully had to use my calculator there, but I know the answer is perfect. It's 2. It's not a decimal and it's not a radical, so that's perfect and that's okay. So I put a 2, and that'd be the most common mistake that I see. They think the answer is 2. But it's actually plus or minus 2. Another common mistake, people want to put that 2 underneath the radical. It's not. It's a perfect square root. It's not a decimal. It's not a radical, and you would just have that. All right, hopefully today made sense. We'll just keep building off of radicals and building off of solving equations. Do these 4 problems for homework, upload them to the Google Doc, and have a great day. It's your boy, Mr. P. Here you go. Let them zoom in real quick. You can pause the video, write them down, and try your homework. Good luck.